Ladies and gentlemen, we've all encountered challenges at various points in our lives, whether it's facing a difficult project at work, struggling with a personal goal, or dealing with a setback in our education. Challenges are an inevitable part of the journey. But how we approach these challenges is what makes all the difference. It's not the challenge itself that determines our success, but rather how we respond to it. And that response is rooted in our mindset. The key to success lies in whether we approach challenges with the belief that we can grow and improve, or whether we see them as insurmountable obstacles that define our limits. This is where the concept of mindset comes into play. A growth mindset, the belief that abilities and intelligence are not fixed, but can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence, transforms the way we handle challenges. When you approach life with a growth mindset, you see challenges not as threats, but as opportunities. You understand that every difficult situation holds a lesson, and that with each effort, you're moving closer to improvement. This perspective not only makes challenges more manageable, but it also makes them more exciting. After all, what's the point of striving for success if there's no growth involved? The journey itself becomes a rewarding part of the process. On the other hand, a fixed mindset can hold you back. If you believe that your abilities are static and that failure is a reflection of your inherent limitations, you're less likely to take risks, seek new opportunities, or persist when faced with difficulties. You may shy away from challenges, choosing what's comfortable and safe instead of pushing yourself into situations where you can learn and grow. But with a growth mindset, failure no longer feels like a dead end. Instead, it's simply a temporary setback, a necessary part of the learning curve. You understand that mistakes are not a reflection of your worth or potential, but rather feedback that helps you improve. This belief fosters resilience, enabling you to bounce back stronger each time you face adversity. One of the most powerful aspects of a growth mindset is that it unlocks the potential for continuous learning. Rather than thinking of success as a destination or an endpoint, those with a growth mindset see it as a continuous process of improvement. They embrace the idea that with each challenge, they're becoming better versions of themselves. The more effort they put into learning and growing, the more they realize their potential is limitless. This mindset leads to greater achievement, not because people with a growth mindset are born with special talents or superior intelligence, but because they are willing to work harder, learn from mistakes, and keep pushing forward even when the going gets tough. This is why so many high achievers, from athletes to entrepreneurs to scientists, talk about the importance of persistence and learning from failure. They understand that success isn't about getting everything right the first time. It's about using every experience, every challenge, and every setback as a stepping stone toward greater achievement. So, in essence, mindset shapes our success because it determines how we approach every challenge and opportunity in life. At the heart of this conversation lies a powerful dichotomy: the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. These two mindsets represent fundamentally different ways of viewing our abilities, our potential, and the world around us. And the way we perceive our own capabilities can either propel us forward or hold us back. A growth mindset is the belief that abilities, whether it's intelligence, creativity, athleticism, or any other skill, are not set in stone. Instead, they can be developed and improved over time through dedication, learning, and perseverance. People with a growth mindset understand that intelligence is not just something you're born with, it is something that can expand as you engage with challenges, seek feedback, and put in the effort to improve. In essence, those who adopt a growth mindset see potential everywhere within themselves, others, and even in the most difficult situations. They know that with effort and time, they can transform their weaknesses into strengths. Failure is not a sign of inadequacy for them. Rather, it is seen as a natural and necessary part of growth, a valuable learning experience that leads to greater understanding and mastery. For someone with a growth mindset, every challenge becomes an opportunity to learn. If they don't know something, they don't get discouraged. Instead, they get curious. They understand that it's okay to not have all the answers. What matters is the willingness to seek them out. Over time, this mindset allows people to take on more complex tasks, try new things, and consistently push their boundaries, knowing that the journey will ultimately lead to greater skill and achievement. On the other side of the spectrum is the fixed mindset. People with a fixed mindset believe that their abilities are innate, unchangeable, and largely determined at birth. They believe that intelligence, talent, and even personality traits are qualities you either have or you don't. To them, success or failure reflects their inherent worth if they succeed. It confirms their natural talent if they fail. It means they are simply not good enough. This mindset can be paralyzing. Why would you try something new if you believe that failure means you're fundamentally lacking in some way? Why take risks if you're convinced that your abilities are fixed? A fixed mindset often leads to a desire to look smart or talented rather than putting in the effort to learn and improve. The fear of failure becomes overwhelming because failing challenges the belief that your abilities are set and cannot be changed. Individuals with a fixed mindset may shy away from challenges that could expose their weaknesses. They might avoid difficult tasks or new opportunities because they don't want to risk failing and confirming that they aren't capable. They might also feel threatened by the success of others, as it highlights their own perceived shortcomings. These differing mindsets influence our behavior in profound ways. People with a growth mindset tend to embrace challenges, persist in the face of setbacks, and see effort as a path to mastery. They are open to constructive criticism and use feedback to improve. When they encounter obstacles, they don't view them as roadblocks, but as opportunities to learn, grow, and refine their skills. On the flip side, people with a fixed mindset are more likely to avoid challenges, give up easily when faced with difficulties, and feel threatened by criticism. They might tend to blame external factors like bad luck or unfair circumstances when things don't go as planned, rather than accepting responsibility for their own growth. This avoidance of challenges and fear of failure often results in stagnation, as they stop pushing themselves and avoid situations that might test their abilities. The difference between a growth and a fixed mindset can be seen in everything from how we approach schoolwork to how we handle professional challenges. Studies have shown that students with a growth mindset tend to outperform their fixed mindset peers over time because they are more willing to take risks, persist through difficulties, and learn from their mistakes. They see hard work and effort as keys to improvement, not as signs of failure or inadequacy. In contrast, individuals with a fixed mindset may do well initially, especially in areas where they have natural talent or ability. However, when faced with a challenge they can't easily overcome, they may quit or give up, believing that they simply don't have what it takes. This can lead to stagnation or a plateau in their growth, whereas those with a growth mindset continue to rise to the occasion, adapt, and improve. One of the most powerful aspects of the fixed mindset is that it can create a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe that your abilities are fixed and unchangeable, you're more likely to settle into patterns of behavior that reinforce this belief. You may choose easier tasks to avoid failure, and as a result, you may never fully realize your potential. When you avoid challenges, you miss the very opportunities that would allow you to grow. Conversely, a growth mindset encourages a different type of self-fulfilling prophecy. Believing that you can improve leads to behaviors that foster learning and achievement. You actively seek out challenges, try new things, and stretch yourself beyond your comfort zone. Even when you fail, you understand that failure is not a reflection of your abilities, but a sign that you are pushing your limits, and it's through pushing these limits that you grow. While the fixed mindset can be limiting, the good news is that mindsets are not permanent, they can change. The key to shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset is to become more aware of how we think about challenges and failures. It's about changing the narrative we tell ourselves. Instead of thinking, I'm just not good at this, reframe it as I'm not good at this yet, but with practice, I will get better. Recognize that your brain, just like any other muscle, can be trained to grow stronger over time with the right approach. One of the most powerful differences between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset lies in how we view failure. For many of us, failure is a word that carries a lot of weight. It's associated with embarrassment, disappointment, and sometimes even shame. Society often frames failure as something to be avoided at all costs, something that marks the end of a journey. But in the world of a growth mindset, failure is not an endpoint, it's an essential and valuable part of the process. People with a growth mindset see failure not as a reflection of their abilities, but as an opportunity to learn and improve. They understand that failure, whether it's a failed exam, a business that didn't succeed, a job you didn't get, or a personal goal that you didn't reach, is not a permanent state. It's simply a moment in time, a setback in a journey that's still unfolding. To them, failure is a stepping stone, not a roadblock. When people with a growth mindset fail, they don't see it as an indictment of their worth or intelligence. Instead, they reframe it as valuable feedback. They ask themselves, what can I learn from this experience? What didn't work? What can I do differently next time? This shift in perspective is powerful because it changes the entire emotional response to failure. Instead of feeling defeated or demoralized, they feel motivated to analyze, adjust, and try again, this time with new insights. Think about it, some of the world's greatest successes came from a long series of failures. Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." He didn't see each failure as a reason to quit. Instead, each failure brought him one step closer to his goal of creating the light bulb. Edison's resilience and ability to learn from his mistakes were essential in his eventual success. It's the same with you, whether it's launching a startup, pursuing a career goal, or training for a marathon. Every failure, no matter how big or small, is a chance to improve. The key is to approach it with curiosity and a willingness to grow. This mindset is what turns failure into fuel for success. In fact, failure is essential for mastery. No one becomes an expert in anything without experiencing setbacks, learning from them, and pushing through. If you think about any skill, whether it's learning a musical instrument, playing sports, or even mastering a new software program, failure is built into the learning curve. In the beginning, things are difficult, mistakes are made, and progress can seem slow. But each mistake is an opportunity to refine your technique, strengthen your understanding, and develop deeper expertise. Athletes, musicians, and performers are often put under immense pressure to succeed, but behind every public victory is a long series of private failures and lessons learned. This is the essence of a growth mindset, understanding that failure is not only natural but essential to mastering any skill. If you're not failing, it probably means you're not challenging yourself enough. To truly push your limits and reach your potential, you must be willing to fail, learn, and try again. Failure also plays a crucial role in innovation. Many of the greatest discoveries and innovations in history were made by people who failed countless times before finding the right solution. Take the example of the Wright brothers, who failed numerous times in their attempts to build a flying machine. Their first plane didn't fly as planned. Their second attempt didn't work either. But instead of abandoning the idea, they studied each failure, made adjustments, and tried again. Their perseverance led to the first successful powered flight in 1903. Similarly, in business, many successful entrepreneurs have faced failures before their breakthrough moment. Steve Jobs was famously ousted from Apple, the company he co-founded. He experienced a major failure, but that setback didn't define his career. Jobs returned to Apple years later, bringing new insights, creativity, and resilience that led to the development of groundbreaking products like the iPhone, iPad, and MacBook. This ability to use failure as a springboard for creativity and innovation is what sets people with a growth mindset apart. They don't let failure defeat them, they use it as a tool to fine-tune their ideas and strategies. This openness to experimentation and adaptation is what often leads to breakthroughs. One of the most important benefits of embracing failure is that it builds resilience. The more we fail and learn, the stronger our capacity to deal with future challenges. Failure teaches us that we are capable of bouncing back, that setbacks don't define us, and that perseverance will ultimately lead to growth. People with a growth mindset develop mental toughness because they learn to expect and even welcome failure as part of the process. They know that success is not linear and that resilience is built through overcoming difficulties. Every time they fail and try again, they become more resilient, more confident in their ability to adapt and learn, and more likely to succeed in the future. Ultimately, the key to viewing failure as an opportunity is to understand that failure is not the end of the road. It's merely a temporary detour. Each failure brings new insights, new tools, and new perspectives that make us better, stronger, and more prepared for the next challenge. And with each lesson learned, we're one step closer to achieving our ultimate goal. Instead of fearing failure, start embracing it. Learn to see it not as a reflection of your abilities, but as a sign that you're pushing yourself, taking risks, and challenging your limits. Failure doesn't define you, it refines you. It's through failing and learning that you unlock your greatest potential and move closer to your ultimate success. At the heart of a growth mindset lies a powerful belief that effort is the key to improvement. It's not about innate talent or fixed abilities, it's about the willingness to put in the work, to keep trying and to persist even when things get tough. The belief that effort leads to progress and growth is what distinguishes the growth mindset from the fixed mindset, which holds that abilities are static and cannot be changed. In a world that often celebrates talent and immediate success, it's easy to get caught up in the idea that only those who are naturally gifted will succeed. A growth mindset teaches us that effort is not a limitation, it is the tool we use to unlock our potential. The belief that you can improve through effort gives you the power to tackle challenges head-on, knowing that every bit of hard work will contribute to your growth. This mindset empowers you to own your development rather than feeling limited by circumstances or by what you think you're naturally good at. Consider any skill you've ever tried to learn, whether it's playing an instrument, learning a new language, or acquiring a new professional skill. But those with a growth mindset understand that these initial struggles are a natural part of the learning process. Mastery doesn't happen overnight. It's built through consistent effort. Think about how much time and effort it takes to become truly great at something. Olympic athletes don't wake up one day and win gold medals. They spend years, sometimes decades, honing their skills, pushing through setbacks, and giving their best every single day. This idea is essential to a growth mindset. Effort is the path to mastery. The more time and energy you invest in a skill, the better you will become at it. You don't need to start out perfect, you simply need to start and keep going. One of the most powerful things about effort is how it transforms challenges. With a fixed mindset, challenges often feel like insurmountable obstacles. When you're faced with a difficult task, you might start to feel discouraged, thinking, "I'm not good enough for this," or "I'll never be able to do this." These thoughts can create a sense of helplessness, and the fear of failure may make you avoid challenges altogether. But with a growth mindset, you view challenges as opportunities to learn, not threats to your abilities. Challenges become something to be embraced rather than avoided. The belief that effort leads to improvement gives you the confidence to face difficult situations head-on. You recognize that even if something seems impossible at first, with persistence, practice, and focused effort, you can improve. This doesn't mean that challenges become easy. In fact, the more you challenge yourself, the more you will be stretched. But it does mean that you have the tools to overcome them. A growth mindset empowers you to take on new challenges without the fear of failure. You're willing to step out of your comfort zone and push your limits, knowing that each step forward is a victory in itself. Effort, however, is not just about working hard, it's about working smart. The concept of deliberate practice is critical here. Deliberate practice refers to a method of practice where you focus not just on repetition, but on constant improvement by pushing the boundaries of your current abilities. It's about challenging yourself with tasks that are just outside your comfort zone rather than sticking to what you already know you can do. This kind of purposeful practice is what drives the greatest improvements. It requires focused feedback and an understanding of your weaknesses and strengths. It's not about working longer hours or putting in more time just for the sake of it. It's about working intentionally with a clear goal to improve and grow. One example of this is how chess grandmasters practice. Instead of simply playing games over and over, they spend significant time analyzing their past games, studying different strategies, and focusing on areas where they struggled. They identify specific aspects of their game that need work and focus their efforts on improving those weaknesses. Over time, this focused and deliberate effort leads to remarkable improvement, even for the most talented players. This principle applies to anyone pursuing personal or professional development. If you want to get better at something, whether it's writing, public speaking, coding, or managing a team, deliberate practice allows you to accelerate your growth. It's through focused effort that you improve the skills that matter most to you. Another critical aspect of effort is consistency. Think of the story of the tortoise and the hare. The hare, full of natural speed, sprints ahead but gets distracted and tired, while the slow and steady tortoise wins the race with consistent, persistent effort. This fable may seem simplistic, but the message is profound. Consistency trumps sporadic bursts of effort. The tortoise's slow, steady progress is a reflection of how success is often built over time, with patience and persistence. Whether it's in your career, personal goals, or hobbies, consistent effort over time will always yield better results than a few bursts of intense effort, followed by periods of inactivity. The key is to keep showing up day after day, making small improvements, and building momentum. The compound effect of consistent effort is incredibly powerful. It adds up in ways that are often invisible at first, but become increasingly apparent over time. Ultimately, the power of effort lies in its ability to empower us. When you believe that your efforts are the key to growth, you no longer feel at the mercy of your circumstances or natural ability. Instead, you recognize that you have the ability to shape your future through the actions you take today. The more effort you put into something, the more control you have over your own development. Effort is what transforms potential into reality. It's what allows you to break through limitations, overcome obstacles, and reach new heights. In a world that often emphasizes the importance of talent, the growth mindset reminds us that it is effort that unlocks our true potential. At the core of the growth mindset lies a fascinating and scientifically backed concept: neuroplasticity, the brain's incredible ability to rewire itself and form new neural connections. This process is the foundation for why the growth mindset works. The more we practice, learn, and push ourselves, the stronger and more adaptable our brains become. For centuries, it was believed that the brain's structure and abilities were set in stone. Once we reached a certain age, it was thought our brains were fixed and unable to change. However, groundbreaking research over the past few decades has revealed a stunning truth: our brains are not static, they are highly plastic, meaning they have the capacity to reorganize, adapt, and grow in response to new experiences, challenges, and learning. Neuroplasticity shows us that our brains are not limited by our current level of skill, intelligence, or experience. With focused effort and practice, we can strengthen existing neural pathways and even create new ones. This has profound implications for how we think about learning, success, and personal development. If we believe that our abilities are fixed, we may shy away from challenges, assuming that we're not capable of improvement. Neuroplasticity operates by changing the way our brain's nerve cells communicate with one another. Every time we learn something new or practice a skill, our brain forms new connections between neurons. These connections, known as synapses, strengthen over time with repeated practice. In essence, the more we practice a skill, the stronger and more efficient the brain becomes at performing that task. For example, when we first learn a new language, we may struggle to remember vocabulary, form sentences, or understand grammatical rules. But with consistent practice, our brains begin to strengthen the neural connections associated with language, making it easier to recall words, recognize patterns, and communicate more fluently. The same is true in virtually every area of life, whether it's improving in math, learning a musical instrument, or mastering a new skill at work. Every time you challenge your brain, whether by solving a problem, trying a new workout, or mastering a new software program, you are forging new neural pathways that enable you to perform better. The key to neuroplasticity is repetition. The brain doesn't change just by trying something once or twice. It needs repeated, focused practice in order to rewire itself. The more we engage in an activity, the more the brain becomes efficient at it, building stronger and faster connections. This is why consistency and persistence are essential when it comes to learning and growth. Think of it like strengthening a muscle. Just as you wouldn't expect to build muscle by lifting weights only once, you can't expect your brain to strengthen its neural connections with a single attempt. Whether you're learning to play the guitar or trying to improve your problem-solving skills, it's the consistent repetition of the task that creates lasting change. In fact, neuroplasticity is most powerful when we practice deliberately, when we focus our attention on improving and pushing our boundaries. It's not just about repeating the same task mindlessly, but about engaging with it in a way that challenges us. For example, if you're learning to play the piano, practicing new, more complex pieces will push your brain to make new connections, whereas playing simple pieces you've already mastered may not create the same growth. Neuroplasticity also plays a key role in how we overcome obstacles, setbacks, and failures. The brain's ability to adapt means that no challenge is truly insurmountable. When we face a difficult task or encounter failure, our brain doesn't shut down, it adapts and learns from the experience. This is why people with a growth mindset can continue to improve even after setbacks. For example, when someone is learning a difficult skill, like playing a challenging piece of music or learning a new language, they will make mistakes. These mistakes may feel frustrating, but neuroplasticity tells us that each mistake strengthens the brain's ability to adapt and learn. In fact, research has shown that when we make mistakes, the brain becomes more active and engaged as it works to process the error and adjust for next time. Our mistakes aren't signs of failure, they are evidence that the brain is rewiring itself to improve. In situations where you may have initially struggled, whether it's math problems, sports, or public speaking, neuroplasticity shows that with continuous effort, you can overcome those difficulties. You are literally changing the structure of your brain, making it more adaptable and capable over time. The more we push our limits, the more our brain develops new neural pathways that enable us to handle more complex tasks with greater ease. When we look at the stories of highly successful people like Steve Jobs or Michael Jordan, we often hear about their talent, innovation, and achievements. But the real secret to their success isn't just their raw abilities, it's their persistence. Success is rarely the result of a single brilliant moment of inspiration or talent. It's the culmination of consistent effort, resilience, and the willingness to keep going even in the face of adversity. Persistence is the thread that ties together every success story. It's the relentless drive to continue pursuing a goal, despite the setbacks, challenges, and failures that inevitably come along the way. It's about embracing the journey, knowing that the path to success is rarely a straight line, but instead a series of twists and turns that require unwavering determination. One of the most powerful tools at our disposal in the pursuit of success is the way we talk to ourselves. Our internal dialogue, our self-talk shapes our perceptions of who we are and what we're capable of. In fact, the way we frame our thoughts has a profound impact on whether we embrace challenges or shy away from them. When we make the shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, one of the most important changes we can make is in how we speak to ourselves. By consciously reframing our negative or limiting thoughts, we can transform our outlook, increase our resilience, and unlock our potential. Self-talk isn't just the inner voice that comments on our experiences. It's the lens through which we interpret and respond to situations. For example, when faced with a challenging task, do we say to ourselves, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, or do we think I can't do this yet, but I can improve with effort and learning? That subtle shift in language is more than just a change in words, it represents a shift in how we see ourselves and our capacity for growth. And that shift is the key to adopting a growth mindset. Self-talk is the ongoing conversation we have with ourselves, often without even realizing it. It includes both the positive and negative thoughts that run through our heads as we navigate daily life. If left unchecked, our self-talk can become a powerful barrier to our growth. Negative self-talk, especially in moments of failure or difficulty, can lead to feelings of helplessness, self-doubt, and fear of trying again. Over time, if we continue to feed ourselves a narrative of limitation, it can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. For example, when faced with a difficult task or failure, someone with a fixed mindset might say to themselves, I'll never be able to do this. I'm just not smart enough. This thought reinforces the belief that their abilities are limited, setting up a cycle where they avoid challenges or quit prematurely. On the other hand, someone with a growth mindset after encountering a similar challenge might say, this is hard, but I can figure it out. I need to practice and keep learning. This more empowering self-talk encourages persistence and frames the challenge as a stepping stone for growth, rather than an insurmountable obstacle. One of the most effective ways to change our self-talk is by reframing the negative or limiting thoughts that come to mind. Reframing involves taking a negative thought and adjusting it so that it supports a mindset of possibility and growth. A simple yet powerful example of reframing is changing the phrase "one can't do this" to "I can't do this yet." The word "yet" is transformative. It adds an element of hope and possibility. It acknowledges that you may not be able to do something at this moment, but that doesn't mean you won't be able to in the future. It recognizes that learning, practice, and effort can change the outcome. This small shift in language can make a huge difference in how we approach challenges. It turns an immediate barrier into an opportunity for development. For instance, if you're learning a new skill at work and you struggle to get it right, you might be tempted to think, I'm just not good at this, but if you reframe that thought into, I'm not good at this yet, you remind yourself that skill building is a process and it's okay to struggle in the beginning. You are in the process of improving, and with time and effort, you'll get better. The distinction between positive and negative self-talk has a significant impact on our motivation and resilience. Positive self-talk, grounded in a growth mindset, fuels our drive to keep going, even in the face of difficulties. It reinforces the idea that we can learn from mistakes and improve over time. Negative self-talk, on the other hand, can be paralyzing. It often leads to self-doubt, procrastination, and a fear of failure, all of which can hold us back from taking risks or trying new things. Take the example of a student preparing for an important exam. If their internal dialogue is something like, I'm terrible at this subject, no matter how much I study, I won't pass, it can quickly lead to feelings of helplessness and anxiety, causing them to procrastinate or not study as effectively. But if the student adopts a growth mindset and changes their self-talk to, I may not understand this yet, but I can learn the material with effort and practice, They are far more likely to stay focused, put in the work, and approach the exam with a sense of empowerment rather than defeat. In fact, studies have shown that people who engage in more positive self-talk or constructive reframing are more likely to persist in the face of obstacles, perform better under pressure, and exhibit greater overall well-being. The way we talk to ourselves influences how we approach challenges and setbacks. Positive self-talk doesn't ignore difficulties, it acknowledges them while focusing on our ability to overcome them. Another powerful aspect of self-talk is the role of self-compassion. Being kind and supportive to ourselves, especially during times of failure or difficulty, is a crucial component of the growth mindset. Self-compassion means treating yourself with the same understanding, patience, and encouragement that you would offer to a friend facing similar struggles. When we fail or make mistakes, our immediate reaction might be to berate ourselves. Thoughts like, "I'm such an idiot," or "I'll never get this right," can easily take hold. But practicing self-compassion means replacing those harsh, critical thoughts with words of encouragement and kindness. Instead of thinking, "I'm a failure," try thinking, "I didn't succeed this time, but that doesn't define me. I can try again, and I'll learn from this experience." Research shows that individuals who practice self-compassion are more likely to be resilient in the face of setbacks. They don't dwell on their mistakes or punish themselves emotionally. They learn from them, adjust their approach, and continue moving forward. Self-compassion is a key part of fostering a growth mindset because it reduces the fear of failure and encourages a sense of self-worth that is not contingent on perfection. One of the most effective ways to reprogram negative self-talk is through affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that you repeat to yourself regularly to reinforce a mindset of growth and possibility. The power of affirmations lies in their ability to challenge and replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. When practiced consistently, affirmations can help you internalize the belief that you are capable of learning and improving. For example, if you're struggling with self-doubt about a new project, you might say to yourself, "I am capable of learning new skills. I can overcome challenges with effort and persistence." Repeating this affirmation helps counter the negative thoughts that might pop up, such as "I can't do this," or "I'll never figure this out over time." As you continue to reinforce these positive thoughts, they become ingrained in your mindset, shifting your outlook toward growth and resilience. Self-talk is especially critical in high-stress situations, where our thoughts can easily spiral into negativity and anxiety. Whether it's preparing for a big presentation, an important exam, or a challenging conversation, our self-talk can either calm our nerves or amplify our fears. In moments of stress, we can consciously choose to reframe our thoughts to reduce anxiety and boost confidence. For instance, if you're nervous about an upcoming public speaking engagement, your inner dialogue might be full of negative thoughts. "I'm going to mess up. I'm not good enough to do this." However, by reframing these thoughts to something like, "I've prepared well, and I can handle this. I may make mistakes, but that's okay. I'll learn from them," you shift the focus from fear of failure to an embrace of the learning process. This type of self-talk can help calm your nerves, build your confidence, and prime you for success. In conclusion, self-talk is a foundational component of the growth mindset. The way we speak to ourselves directly influences our beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. By shifting from a narrative of limitation to one of possibility, by replacing negative thoughts with empowering reframes, and by cultivating self-compassion, we can change the way we approach challenges, learning, and success. When we say to ourselves, "I can't do this yet," we are affirming our capacity for growth, learning, and improvement. This simple phrase serves as a reminder that failure is not a permanent state, but part of the process of development. And when we commit to shifting our self-talk, we are taking one of the most powerful steps toward unlocking our potential and fully embracing the growth mindset. One of the most powerful aspects of a growth mindset is the ability to focus on the process rather than obsessing solely over the end result. While it's natural to want to achieve big goals and attain success, people with a growth mindset understand that success is not just about the destination, it's about the journey. They appreciate the value of each step along the way, and they celebrate the small wins, the incremental progress, and the lessons learned throughout the process. In a culture that often emphasizes results over effort, we can become so fixated on the outcome, whether it's a promotion, a finished project, or a personal achievement, that we lose sight of the smaller moments that contribute to our growth. But the truth is, it's in the process, the daily practice, the problem solving, the persistence, and the setbacks that true growth occurs. Focusing on the process encourages us to enjoy the experience of learning, to embrace challenges, and to stay motivated even when the ultimate goal feels far out of reach. People with a growth mindset know that success is rarely achieved in a single leap. It's built through consistent progress, no matter how small the steps may seem. Rather than fixating on distant goals, they celebrate each moment of progress because they understand that every step forward is a victory in itself. For example, if you're working toward learning a new skill, whether it's a language, an instrument, or a professional qualification, you might not notice big changes right away. The process can feel slow, and the end goal may feel distant. But those who embrace a growth mindset celebrate the small wins along the way, mastering a new word in a language, hitting a new personal best in a workout, or understanding a tricky concept that once seemed impossible. Each of these milestones contributes to the larger picture and reinforces the idea that progress, no matter how incremental, is valuable. Celebrating small wins is not just about feeling good in the moment, it also reinforces positive behavior. It builds momentum, strengthens our belief in our ability to grow, and provides motivation to keep pushing forward. Over time, these small victories compound, leading to big accomplishments. This principle is true not only for personal goals, but also in professional settings. Take the example of someone working on a long-term project at work. If they only focus on the end result, the project's completion, without appreciating the daily progress they're making, they may lose motivation or become discouraged. But if they celebrate the small wins, completing a difficult section of the project, getting positive feedback from a colleague, or solving a challenging problem, they create a positive cycle of growth and engagement. When we focus on the process, we allow ourselves to embrace learning rather than striving for perfection. In a growth mindset, failure isn't seen as something to fear, it's part of the process of learning and improving. By focusing on the steps we take to improve, we shift our attention away from perfection and toward progress. In school, for example, a student with a growth mindset understands that learning is the goal, not just achieving the highest grade. While getting in might feel good, what truly matters is the understanding of the material and the development of critical thinking skills. If the student struggles on a test, rather than viewing it as a failure, they focus on what they can learn from the experience, whether it's adjusting their study methods, reviewing certain concepts more carefully, or seeking help in areas of difficulty. This same mindset applies in other areas of life too. Whether you're an athlete training for a competition, an artist developing a new skill, or a professional working on a career goal, focusing on the process helps you appreciate the incremental improvements that ultimately lead to success. When we let go of the pressure to be perfect and instead embrace the process of growth, we allow ourselves to enjoy the learning experience and cultivate a lifelong love of learning. In our society, there's often an overwhelming emphasis on outcomes, on results, achievements, and final goals. While it's important to set goals and measure progress, when we place too much value on the end result, we risk losing sight of what's happening along the way. We might become discouraged by setbacks, frustrated by slow progress, or disillusioned when things don't go exactly as planned. Worse, we might feel like failures when we don't achieve perfection or the exact results we were hoping for. The danger of focusing solely on the outcome is that it can lead to stress, burnout, and frustration. When we define our success only by whether we reach the goal, we may feel like we've failed if we don't reach it immediately, or if the journey is more difficult than expected. This can lead to a fixed mindset, where we start to believe that our abilities are limited and that failure is a reflection of our worth. For example, consider someone trying to build a business. If they focus only on the end result, the revenue, the customers, or the market share, they may become discouraged if things aren't moving as fast as they'd like. But if they focus on the day-to-day growth, the new skills they're acquiring, the connections they're making, the feedback they're receiving, they're more likely to enjoy the journey, make course corrections, and keep pushing forward. People with a growth mindset understand that success isn't an all-or-nothing concept. They embrace the journey of learning and improvement, and they understand that setbacks and failures are an essential part of the path to success. By shifting the focus from the end result to the process, they create a sustainable path for growth and achievement. One of the biggest challenges in pursuing long-term goals is maintaining motivation over time. Progress can feel slow, especially when you're not seeing immediate results. However, when we shift our focus to the process, we gain the ability to stay motivated and engaged, even when the end goal is still far off. For instance, someone who is training for a marathon might be frustrated by the seemingly endless hours of running, the aches and pains of training, and the long distance between them and the finish line. But by focusing on the process, on improving their stamina, on feeling stronger with each run, on achieving small milestones like increasing their distance or speed, they are able to find joy and motivation in the journey itself, not just in crossing the finish line. Each day of training becomes a step toward improvement, and each run is an opportunity to become better, regardless of whether they're hitting their ultimate goal yet. By focusing on the process, you also create a healthier relationship with your goals. Instead of being constantly stressed about whether or not you've arrived at your destination, you can celebrate the growth, effort, and lessons along the way. This helps to reduce anxiety, increase satisfaction, and maintain motivation, especially when things get tough or when the finish line seems distant. The focus on process isn't just limited to personal or professional achievements. It's also a valuable mindset in building healthy relationships and personal growth. In relationships, for instance, we often get caught up in expectations for the future, whether it's marriage, family, or a particular outcome. But focusing on the process of building a connection through communication, mutual respect, and shared experiences helps us enjoy the journey of growing together rather than stressing about where things are supposed to go. Similarly, in personal development, focusing on the process of self-improvement allows us to take small, consistent steps toward becoming the person we want to be. If we only focus on the end result, such as being perfect or reaching a specific milestone in our personal growth, it's easy to become discouraged when we fall short. But when we focus on the small, daily steps we take to grow, whether it's reading a book, practicing mindfulness, or developing new habits, we create a foundation for sustainable personal development. Ultimately, focusing on the process is where true transformation happens. Success is not just about reaching a particular point in the future, it's about the changes we undergo, the lessons we learn, and the person we become along the way. It's the small decisions we make each day, the perseverance we show in the face of challenges, and the growth we experience through effort and practice that shape us into our best selves. A growth mindset teaches us that the process is the point. By valuing the effort, celebrating the small wins, and embracing the journey as an opportunity for learning and growth, we unlock our full potential. It's in the process where our abilities expand, our confidence grows, and our success is built, one step at a time. One of the most important factors in cultivating and maintaining a growth mindset is the people we surround ourselves with. Our environment has a profound impact on how we think, feel, and behave. The people we interact with regularly can either inspire us to reach higher or hold us back from pursuing our full potential. That's why it's crucial to surround ourselves with individuals who share a growth-oriented mindset, people who encourage learning, challenge us to improve, and support our personal and professional development. When we spend time with people who have a fixed mindset, those who believe that abilities are set in stone, and that failure is something to avoid at all costs, it can be easy to adopt the same limiting beliefs. Negative self-talk, avoidance of challenges, and a fear of failure can become the norm in such an environment. However, when we surround ourselves with growth-minded individuals, those who view challenges as opportunities to learn, embrace effort, and value persistence, we are more likely to adopt those same empowering beliefs. Growth-minded people share a common belief that intelligence, talent, and abilities are not static. They can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence. This collective belief creates an environment where learning is prioritized over perfection, effort is valued over results, and failure is seen as a stepping stone rather than a setback.